Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. It's funny. I just talked to Sean, and I'd seen him at Telluride in Toronto, and I'd spoke to him for the last couple films, and it was funny to me. I always love his work, and I actually have loved you in several things. So when I saw that you were cast, I got really excited because there's something about when you know a filmmaker is going to use an actress or an actor the right way. You go, I don't care what this is going to be about. I'm going to have a good time. And then when I heard the plot, I was like, okay, cool. That sounds like a real Sean Baker movie. I'm in.
Yeah.
And then when I saw where it was set, I'm looking at where most of the movie took place. I live in Brighton Beach.
You do. Oh my
Like
gosh.
Telluride, Sean told me where he lived when they were shooting,
Yeah.
and I was like, I'm across the street.
That's
Like
amazing. Oh my gosh. Wow.
I literally everywhere you guys went, I've been. Like the diner you guys are at
Yeah.
in towards the end was with my grandmother there a week before I saw the movie. Like walked on the boardwalk during COVID. It just there's something about this movie beyond being funny and moving and devastating when it is. It's just it feels real, especially for me. Um, so there's never really a question there beyond how cool is it to make a thing that you know is responding people are responding to that way.
Oh, it's so special. And I fell in love with Brighton Beach the handful of months I was able to live there. It is such an amazing, colorful, interesting community. And I went back about a week ago for some work, and I was able to like visit my favorite coffee shops, and um, I was completely transported back to filming. And yeah, it's an amazing place. But yeah, I mean that's so wonderful. I'm so happy that you feel that it like speaks to you in a certain way.
And just the character is so someone I would have known or would know. Like I the house that you're living in is like I know exactly who would be living there. And I was telling Sean the idea of like when you're at home, the way you look, the bundled up, the like less makeup, just the idea of like I'm home, I don't want to deal with anything. I'm a world away from Manhattan. And then,
Yeah.
you know, it really does hit the like it takes an hour to get there and and then when you're in Manhattan, you're a different person. Like
Right.
there's something about the character that it really does feel lived in, and I'm sure a lot of it is obviously on the page, and Sean gives you a lot of freedom. But like when you sort of know you have it, especially having a platform here, you obviously Scream and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, people noticed you, and Better Things, people notice you and say nice things. But here I'm kind of fully in control, playing a character who lacks control, but sort of has like the hint of control happening. Like, how do you make sure that it works out? Because obviously it worked out spectacular. It's my favorite performance of the year. But like, how do you know it's going well?
Um, Honestly, I can't say that I ever thought it was going well, because I'm definitely someone who would go home and would be like constantly second guessing myself and like, did I prepare enough? Did I do this enough? And am I feeling this? Am I in the scene as much as I possibly could be, like emotionally? But I think for me was like the preparation that I did before getting to Brighton Beach a month early was like I really just like threw myself into doing as much research as I could do, as much physical preparation in terms of dancing and accent work and learning Russian. And so I feel like when I got there, I knew who my character was so completely. Like I didn't want to leave any question unanswered, and I think that I still left room to learn more about her, but I think that I knew who I was playing, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the
Yeah.
and the technical stuff, obviously, you can do and learn and be like, that can become second nature. I don't have to hopefully think about it as much. But yeah, it's how she says "fuck you" to people. It's just there's some things that are just like that is a very specific person, and I think obviously Sean's there to say it's good and you know what you're feeling. But yeah, I think it is true. I guess until you actually see it all put together to know that like, oh, I can be kicking someone's ass in one scene and crying in the other, and it fits together well, and it is still the same person. It really does feel like the type of person who lives there, and also the type of person you want to spend 2 hours and change following, because that if you don't care, like if the audience doesn't care, it doesn't matter what you're doing. And I think
Right, yeah.
within seconds, I think you care. I think just even, scene two scenes in, realizing, okay, here's what she does, here's how she does it. And I think even without saying anything, here's what she thinks of it, which is so important. Like, I don't think there's ever a moment where we don't know what's in your head. And that's incredible.
Well, thank you. That's very kind. I think, there's Annie is so many different things, and there's different versions of her, I think, that she presents to different people that she meet. But it's also in those like more private moments, I think you get to see a glimpse of who she might really be, when she's all stripped back, like in her house, or especially in the last scene. And so it was interesting for me as an actor to navigate those different faces that she would meet and how she feels about them, and to be very specific internally about all of that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I think seeing her reaction to essentially being proposed to is that's the real her. That's a full scene of no, I'm having a real conversation now. I think that last scene especially, I was telling Sean, the person next to me at Telluride, did not interpret it the way I think the movie is asking you or like presenting as the options, but I was fascinated to hear their like weird little rant. They loved it too, but they were just like what they said. I was like, I feel like that's not the movie we watched, but I think it speaks to doing that scene well and being prepared and letting it kind of happen the way it happens, because that's maybe one of the few moments, obviously sort of the more stressful ones, you're like, what's going to happen? But you always feel like she's got a handle on it, which is, I think, why it's such a beloved movie so far, is she's in danger, sort of, but you don't feel like there's villains and you don't feel like she's going to suffer. And then at the end, when you kind of are getting the weight of what happened, you are just like, well, what is her reaction? This is the first time where I'm not sure what she'll do next. And the way you choose to handle that is just, it's staggering.
Well, it's interesting. I've heard so many different opinions or thoughts on how people interpret the last scene as an audience member, like ranging from like extremely bizarre and cynical to very romantic. And I often find that it's really a reflection of the person who is talking about it, and like their views on love, power, all of those things. It's really interesting to me to hear people's different opinions. So yeah, it's open-ended,
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's meant to be discussed, and I think Sean was saying he heard a couple of wild ones where he's just like, okay, sure, why not? Like, if somebody likes it and someone's responding to it, they're never wrong.
Yeah.
Like you said, like, oh, you brought something to the movie that we didn't, and that's cool. And I think it's actually kind of the perfect moment to leave it on, because you're having fun for so much of the movie, but you're also kind of not thinking about the consequences. I'm like plot-wise, like, oh, one of two things can probably happen, but when you're left with what happened, it is a kind of a perfect moment to go, well, what's tomorrow going to be like?
Right.
Because this was a crazy day, and the people who are no longer in the picture, their tomorrow is very different. The people we're looking at in the last scene, their tomorrow is going to be very different.
Yeah.
And who's thinking about them? And I think the cool thing is, like, we're the ones who are thinking about them.
Yeah, I know it's hard for me, I think, because I feel very protective over her and very loving towards this character I played. And so when I hear some of the more cynical perspectives, it makes me want to be like, wait, why? What do you mean? But yeah, it's very interesting, and I'm happy that it's starting conversations.
Oh yeah, no, you should be incredibly proud of this. It's my favorite movie of the year. It's my favorite performance of the year, and I'm thrilled to see what happens. And I can't wait for you to be too big to do this again with me. But this is awesome. I had a great time with it.
It was really nice to meet you. Yeah.
Likewise. Thank you so much. Congrats again.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Take care.